your movie is really funny. It's really funny. By myself, laughing out loud hysterically today.
It is one of the most important contributions to cinema in American history.
Your goal is to conduct an investigation into something key to the culture war.
There were so many great moments in there.
Were these people real that are in this movie?
It's a great film.
I highly recommend everybody go see this movie.
Mazel tov, as
thanks.
Ben's people would say.
Am I Racist? Rated PG-13 in theaters now.
Well, folks, Kamala Harris is pouring money into this race. She is brat, and she is joy, and she is campaigning with Oprah Winfrey, and she's got a heap load of problems. I will explain in a moment. First, Am I Racist is the #1 new comedy in America. It's now playing only in theaters. Get tickets and showtimes for your local theaters right now at amiracist.com. So Kamala Harris, she's out there campaigning. She's brat. She's got all the energy. She's got all the joy. And she's got a bunch of problems. So she's been going around campaigning. She is a word salad queen, as we all know. She's been campaigning with Oprah Winfrey. But she's got a major, major problem. Remember, one of the pieces of math that Joe Biden had suggested as to why he would not drop out is he was afraid that whatever Kamala Harris picked up in terms of minority support, she would drop among blue-collar white workers. And that's true. That's true because she is terrible at this, truly terrible at this. I want to begin today by pointing out an ad that Kamala Harris's super PACs have put out. She is lagging among men, particularly white men, really, really lagging. You know why? She doesn't know how to talk to them. In the same way that people in the media say that Trump fans, they don't know how to talk to ladies or whatever. Okay, but the Harris campaign has no idea how to talk to men at all, like no clue. They put out literally, one of their super PACs put out the single worst political ad I have ever seen in my entire life today. It is the worst ad I have ever seen in my entire life because no one who wrote this ad has ever met a man.
Hey, white dudes. So I think we're all pretty sick of hearing how much we suck. Every time you go online, it's the same story. We're the problem.
It's just terrible.
And yeah, some white dudes are. Trump and all his MAGA
right there.
buddies.
I'm sorry, that's amazing. That's amazing. Pause it right there. No dude has ever said this to another dude. No dude, ever. When it's not scripted by a woman. No dude's ever, hey dudes, you know, there are a bunch of ladies out there. They say we're the problem. And you know what? They're right. Some of us are totally the problem. What? That's not even how you do an ad. And you think that where they're going in the ad is, they keep saying we're the problem, but we're not the problem. We're the makers. We're the people who are going down, doing the dangerous jobs. And those are the people that Democrats support with right? Like that's where you think it's going. That's not where it's going. Because they can't talk to dudes, because ain't a dude writing this ad. It's some woke 22-year-old female intern at an ad agency for white dudes for Harris writing this ad. Hey dudes, you know, they say we're the problem. And you know what? They're right. We are the problem. It's because of our balls. Here we go.
It worse, shouting nonsense in their stupid red hats and acting like they speak for us when they don't. All they've ever done is screw us over. But if you're not on the MAGA train, where do you go? Isn't it just swapping out one crappy option for another? Then it hit me. This isn't about picking teams. It's about who's got a plan that's gonna make life better for me and my family. So I've been doing my own research.
Okay, pause it. I love that. I love this. So first of all, I love also the stereotype that they will never ever say out loud that is embedded in this ad is that unlike females, men will do their own research and think about policy. Right? That's the actual thing that they're doing in this ad. Like, I'm a man, and you know what? What am I gonna do? Just switch one crappy option for another? No, I went down the rabbit hole. I started looking at Excel spreadsheets, like a man would. I started looking at the actual policy specifics of Kamala Harris and a team. Like, oh my God, these people. You thought they were going to appeal to men? Wrong you are. They're basically saying that if you're a man, the only way they can appeal to you is by desperately hoping that you ignore Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris's picture in this ad appears one time.
Check out Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. And before you jump down my throat, they're actually talking to guys like us. No lectures.
I guess she appears like two.
Just real solutions to protect our freedoms like us and help us take care of the people who matter. And honestly, I think Harris and Walz are the ones to make that happen. End of the day, you're your own man. It's your call. But if anyone gives you crap about it, tell them it's none of their damn business.
Oh my God, and they're using the Tim Walz line at the end. It's none of their damn business. I love that. That is one of the great ads. Paid for by Beige Rainbow Pack. Wow. The Beige Rainbow Pack, where all the men go to Beige Rainbow, which sounds like the world's whitest gay bar. Beige Rainbow. Seriously, wow. These people understand men at a root gut level. They really understand men. You can do your own research, but I'm telling you, before you come at me and shove it down my throat, I'm voting for that. Also, I do love the assumption, the core assumption of the ad is men hate her. That is the core assumption of the ad, right? It's like, if we can't vote for that douchebag Trump, then will I vote for Kamala? Listen, before you sock me directly in the nuts, let me tell you, she's going to lose men by 1,000 points. There are men not yet born who will vote against Kamala Harris. White dudes for Harris. White dudes for Harris. Both they and Hezbollah are missing their today. Kamala Harris is a disaster on many fronts, including the economic front. We are looking at a proposed top income tax rate of nearly 40% under Kamala Harris, 7% hike in corporate taxes, and a capital gains tax on unrealized gains. Unrealized gains, unconstitutional, totally crazy, destroys American business. But wait, there's more. They want to add almost $2 trillion to our already staggering $2 trillion deficit. It's like the end of Thelma and Louise with these folks, just right over the cliff. Now, I know what you're thinking. Ben, how can I protect my hard-earned money? Well, my friends, this is where our trusted sponsors at Birch Gold Group come in. Birch Gold can help you convert your existing IRA or 401k into a gold IRA. That is correct, a tax-sheltered, inflation-resistant golden ticket to financial security. And here's the kicker. You don't pay a penny out of pocket for the conversion. Look, I've been working with Birch Gold for years. They are the real deal. You can call them up. You can ask them all your questions, get all the information. Here's what you need to do. Text the word Ben to 989898. You'll get a free info kit on gold, no strings attached. And listen up because this is really important. This is indeed the final month for those of you who want to get your hands on a limited edition 24-karat gold-plated truth bomb with qualifying purchases. Text Ben to 989898. Claim your eligibility before September 30th. In a time of high taxes and high inflation, protect your savings with gold from Birch Gold. Text Ben to the number 989898 for your free info kit today. So Kamala Harris is out there because she can't reach out to men, because she is dragging with men, and she really is. Because of that, she is out there trying to reach out and touch people with Oprah, which means she's out on the campaign trail just vomiting 360 head-spinning Linda Blair and the Exorcist style word vomit, just word vomit everywhere. The narcissism on the Democratic side of the aisle is insane. Kamala Harris, she was literally put in place by an upper-level coterie of the Democrats without ever having won a single primary vote, and is the emptiest candidate in American history, totally empty. It would be an understatement to call her an empty vessel. Because there's still a vessel when there's an empty vessel. There's not even a vessel with Kamala Harris. She's just a vacuum. She's a black hole of suck, Kamala Harris. So yesterday, she was out on the campaign trail with Oprah. And you want to talk about vacuousness at an insane level. It's almost like the matter and antimatter of vacuousness hitting one another. I'm shocked that the universe did not actually implode based on this. So Kamala Harris offered this word salad when asked about America. And this is what, when you elevate narcissists to the top of the American public heap, this is what you get. Sex scandals and crazy and word salads and emptiness. This is our fault, okay? We live in a republic. We're the people who elect these people. Don't make her president. Here we go.
We love our country. I love our country. I know we all do. That's why everybody's here right now. We love our country. We take pride in the privilege of being American.
Wow.
And this is a moment where we can and must come together as Americans, understanding we have so much more in common than what separates us.
So much more.
Let's come together with the character that we are so proud of about who we are, which is we are an optimistic people.
Oh. What kind of character?
We are an optimistic people.
We are.
Americans,
so enthusiastic.
By character, are people who have dreams and ambitions and aspirations. We believe in what is possible. We believe in what can be. And we believe in fighting for that. That's how we came into being. Because the people before us understood that one of the greatest expressions for the love of our country, one of the greatest expressions of patriotism, is to fight for the ideals of who we are, which includes freedom to make decisions about your own body, freedom to be safe from gun violence. Did you know America was founded by abortion? Freedom to have access
did you know that it was founded on gun control?
Box. Freedom to be who you are and just be, to love who you love openly and with pride.
The founders were big rights advocates.
Freedom
and
to
rights advocates. Loved
just be.
just freedom to be.
And that's who we are. We believe in all that.
That's who we are.
And so this is a moment where we stand knowing what we are fighting for. We're not fighting against. It's what we're fighting for.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm sorry. If that appeals to you, then you deserve precisely what you get. I don't know how you listen to that person and don't want to hang yourself. I don't understand. I really don't. That is the most vacuous bull I have ever heard in my entire life, and it went on for 2 minutes. I made about 30 seconds before I started contemplating thoughts of self-harm. Like that is who, this class. These are the people. These are the people. Okay, and is it any wonder that their extraordinary narcissism and emptiness just applies to every area of their life? And it's true, again, so much throughout American politics, across party lines. Like an empty class of people who don't actually have ideas, have impulses, and have a narcissistic desire for glory. It is so amazing. It is so amazing. That word salad right there, in which basically, by the way, her conclusion is, if you actually tried to analyze what she's saying there, that America was founded on abortion, gun control, and trans rights. That's what she actually said. That was what characterized the people who made this country, is freedom to kill babies and also freedom to not have guns, which doesn't explain how the American Revolution happened, and also freedom to just be and to love who you want to love. It's true. If you look at the founders, loved, were super into polyamorous pansexualism. Loved it. Super into it. What a clown show we have created in this country that Kamala Harris is considered an upper-level presidential candidate. In fact, even Oprah had to step in to save Kamala, which is amazing. Because, again, Oprah is the essence of vacuity, and she had to step in as the more substantive counterpart here from Kamala. Kamala was asked a question, and we know that anytime there's a question mark at the end of a sentence, Kamala Harris just starts to frizz out like a character from that movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger, from Total Recall. Here we go.
This again gets to the point about what does leadership really look like? And is it about you or is it about the people? Right. Is it about running on problems or fixing problems? My work and my career has always been about saying, let's fix problems. Let's address the needs.
Name a problem you fixed.
It's within our capacity to do
Name
that.
one.
So to answer Justin's question, now that bill has gone and hasn't passed, will you reintroduce that?
Absolutely. And when I am elected president of the United States, I will make sure that bill gets to my desk and I will sign it into law.
First of all, presidents don't introduce bills. Congress introduces bills. Second of all, his original question was about a specific bill being introduced, and she launches into this absolutely empty garbage about how she's there to solve problems because of all the problems that she solved. She could not solve a Sudoku. She is both stupid and vacuous. And she's also, I love when she says, leadership is about serving the people. When have you served the people? As Attorney General of the state of California, we should recall, she literally refused to serve the people. The people in California voted for a proposition called Prop 8. I know, I was a Californian. I voted in favor of Prop 8. Prop 8 enshrined traditional marriage as the law of the land in the state of California in the Constitution. Didn't outlaw gay weddings or something. Didn't outlaw people living as they wish to live. All it did is say that the only version of marriage that would be actually recognized by the state of California was male-female. She was Attorney General right after that. She came in. This was appealed to the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. She refused to defend it. When she says that she's there to stand on behalf of the people, no one believes that. She can't win a vote. She can't win a vote. I mean, our politics is ridiculous, but there are serious things happening in the world. Terror attacks continue to persist in Israel. An ongoing war in the north of Israel is about to break out into the open. The International Fellowship of Christians and Jews remains on the ground, just as they've been since the war began, constantly evaluating and addressing both urgent and long-term needs. Now, as we approach the one-year anniversary of the October 7th terrorist attacks, a day that should remind everybody of the real evil that exists in the world, the Fellowship is launching a new initiative called Flags of Fellowship. It's an opportunity for us to remember the victims, honor the heroes, pray for those still held hostage, and highlight the unwavering support of Christians for Israel and the Jewish people. On October 6th, thousands of Americans across the country will plant flags in their churchyards to honor the victims of October 7th. This powerful visual tribute sends a clear message: we remember and we won't forget. Your generous donation today not only provides a flag symbolizing your support, but fuels the Fellowship's ongoing emergency efforts in the Holy Land. Don't stay silent. Don't stay on the sidelines as anti-Semitism spreads like wildfire. Israel needs you now. Visit benforthefellowship.org today. That's benforthefellowship.org. God bless and thank you. But she does try to project an inauthentic toughness. So suddenly, Kamala Harris, the same person who said that America was founded on gun control, she says that she'll shoot a bad guy if a bad guy comes into her house. By the way, that is not true. I'm sorry, that is not true. In the state of California, you have to seriously consider whether to defend yourself if someone actually breaks into your house. You might go to jail. I used to live there. Yeah, I know. Here, she doesn't have to worry about that anyway, since she lives in the Naval Observatory. Here we go.
I'm a gun owner. Tim Walz is a gun.
I did not know that.
If somebody breaks in my house, they're getting shot.
Yes, I hear that. I hear that.
Probably should not have said that.
But
my staff will deal with that later.
Oh, she's so authentic. She's so authentic. Uh-huh. Okay, well, here's the thing. I think the American people, we have this competing impulse, right? So part of the impulse is elect the person who wants the attention. That person, are they good on TV? Can they speak? Do they have that pizzazz? Right? Do they excite us? Do they make us love them? Part of us wants that. And part of us is like, well, actually, maybe they should be good at the actual policy. Maybe. That might be good. And those two impulses are totally at war with one another. I understand there's a large segment of the Republican base that finds President Trump absolutely fascinating as a human being. And they also love the fame and the glitz and the glory and the razzmatazz and the gold gilding and all the rest of it. But for many of us, we just like the policy. And when it comes to President Trump, the thing I like about President Trump is the things he did when he was the president of the United States, for the most part. That is the thing that I care about. Because again, I don't view politicians as people I want to hang out with. I know too many of them for that. I don't view politicians as people who I think are like the world's most interesting human beings who I can't wait to watch on TV, because they're not. What I view them as plumbers. Will they do the job or will they not? When Donald Trump was president, he did the job. He and his team did the job. Kamala Harris is part of the worst presidential team in American history. So that is the thing I care about. And I think deep down, Americans know that, but we have to get out of the mindset of simply putting people, and again, I think it's a minority mindset. I really do. I think that is why you so often see polls in general elections where I can't believe this is the race. Primary voters are the most engaged. Primary voters are the ones who want to fall in love. Most voters just want to fall in, leave me alone and do your job, which is why Kamala Harris actually has a bit of a problem on her hands. So Kamala Harris has been wildly outspending Donald Trump online, like wildly so. According to the New York Times, Harris outspent Donald Trump 20-1 on Facebook and Instagram in the weeks surrounding their debate. 20-1. $12.2 million to $611,000 on Meta's platforms, according to company records. Since Harris entered the race, according to the New York Times, her campaign has overwhelmed the Trump operation with an avalanche of digital advertising, outspending his by tens of millions of dollars and setting off alarm among some Republicans. 4 years ago, Trump drastically outspent Democrats online early in the election cycle. Now Trump is making a very different bet that emphasizes the unique appeal of his online brand, the durability of a donor list built over nearly a decade, and his belief in the power of television. So, in Pennsylvania, for example, after the debate, Harris spent $1.3 million geo-targeting Pennsylvania. Trump spent $22,000. In Michigan, she laid out $1.5 million. He spent $35,000. Trump's campaign has spent a lot more heavily on Google, but even on Google, Harris's PACs are doubling the spending, like $26 million to $13 million since she joined the race. Suffice to say, Trump needs to get a lot more active online, but with all of those systemic advantages, with the pouring in of the money, with the media sucking up her every nonsense, she is still running dead even with Donald Trump. According to the brand new Emerson College poll, Trump and Vice President Harris are neck and neck. In Georgia, Trump is winning 50-47. In Arizona and Wisconsin, he is slightly ahead 49-48. They're dead heats. In Pennsylvania, he is slightly ahead 48-47. In Nevada, they're tied at 48. In North Carolina, Harris is up 49-48. In Michigan, 49-47. So bottom line is, this is a dead heat. She's poured the money in, and people aren't changing their opinion about her. That is a major problem for her, and there are a bunch of troubles that are underneath the surface for Harris. There's a lot going on in the world. It's easy to get distracted with all of that. Maybe you didn't file your taxes, or maybe you have back taxes or unfiled returns. Handling that alone can be a huge mistake. It can cost you thousands of dollars. In these challenging times, your best offense is Tax Network USA. With over 14 years of experience, the experts at Tax Network USA have saved their clients millions in back taxes. Regardless of the size of your tax issue, their expertise will work to your advantage. Tax Network USA offers 3 key services: protection, compliance, and settlement. Upon signing up, Tax Network USA will immediately contact the IRS to secure a protection order, ensuring that aggressive collection activities like garnishments, levies, or property seizures are halted. If you haven't filed in a while, if you need amended returns, or if you're just missing records, Tax Network USA's expert tax preparers will update all your filings to eliminate the risk of IRS enforcement. Then they'll create a settlement strategy to reduce or eliminate your tax debt. The IRS is the largest collection agency in the world. Now that tax season is over, collection season has begun. Tax Network USA can even help with state tax issues. For a complimentary consultation, call today 1-800-958-1000 or visit their website at tnusa.com/Shapiro. That's 1-800-958-1000 or visit tnusa.com/Shapiro today. Do not let the IRS take advantage of you. Get the help you need with Tax Network USA. All the troubles for Trump are right there out on the surface. You can see them. You can see when he makes a dumb comment at a rally. You can see because the media will highlight everything he says, whether it's true or not. With her, it's all roiling under the surface, which means that if the polls are biased, I would say that they're biased against Trump. Because people are saying things to pollsters I'm not sure that they totally believe. Again, Kamala Harris, she's been pouring money into the campaign. She's gotten all the brat and the joy that she can out of this thing. It's like squeezing blood from a stone at this point. She's got troubles. She's got real troubles. So, for example, yesterday we mentioned the Teamsters Union did not endorse her. Now, they wouldn't endorse Trump because, of course, they're the Teamsters. Why would they possibly do that? Despite the fact that 60% of their base actually is going to vote for Donald Trump, but they didn't endorse Kamala. This makes media big mad. So Dana Bash over at CNN, she was grilling the Teamsters president Sean O'Brien, saying, hey, well, why aren't you just endorsing Kamala despite the fact that your members hate her guts?
She should maybe get into her district where it voted far Republican, far right Republican, and maybe find out what the problem is. When I have a problem in a work site and there is criticism, I get right in there and find out what.
What do you
that
mean
problem
voted
is.
far right Republican?
In our polling,
she's a Democrat.
In our polling,
you mean among Teamsters?
In our polling, New York, her district, voted overwhelmingly Republican to support former President Trump. So she may want to focus on her job instead of mine.
Yes, well, I mean, that is correct. I love the media are so mad at the Teamsters. Listen, if your candidate is going over like a lead balloon, that's your fault, man. AOC also very disappointed in Sean O'Brien's leadership and also the death of Hezbollah members. Those are the 2 things she was very upset about yesterday, was Hezbollah members getting blown up by beepers and also the Teamsters Union.
I'm very disappointed in Sean O'Brien's leadership. I have found it increasingly alarming all year. His campaigning with Republicans, coming out in favor of anti-choice Senate candidates, coming out and campaigning increasingly with Republicans. I find this to be very, it's confusing.
It is confusing. It is confusing when, the Teamsters don't love the socialistic candidate who will destroy the American middle class. That is confusing to former bartender and noted genius Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez. Even Politico at this point is noting that Kamala Harris is having real trouble in the Rust Belt. Quote, as vice president, Kamala Harris has been part of an administration that's poured more than $50 billion into Rust Belt industry and infrastructure. As Democrats' nominee for president, she is hardly mentioning the massive spending as she woos voters in the crucial region. Instead, Harris and her surrogates are focusing their economic pitch on the care economy, policies to expand child care, make housing more affordable, and help small businesses. The focus of her first economic speech in August, as well as a new TV ad. It's a major pivot from her current boss, President Biden, who made rebuilding domestic manufacturing a core part of his message to voters. Why? Want to know why? Because she's appealing to ladies. That's why. What's the difference between the message of we're giving money to childcare and we are going to pour money into subsidies for manufacturing? The sex of the recipients. That is the reason why Kamala Harris has shifted her focus. It's also why she's bleeding support among white blue-collar men. It's a major problem. By the way, it's about to get a lot worse because next week, there's going to be a major strike, a port strike on the East Coast and the Gulf of Mexico by October 1st. And Joe Biden is not going to invoke a federal law to prevent it. He's not going to do that because he's afraid of pissing off the unions in advance of the election. But it's going to be a big reminder to the American people that a Kamala Harris presidency would mean that the unions run the government. She also has been bleeding Jewish support. A new Siena College poll shows Jewish New York voters actually favoring Donald Trump overall, which is an astonishing statistic. That is a crazy statistic. Okay, understand that Jews generally in the United States are not a religious group. Many people who perceive themselves to be Jewish don't in any way have a connection to Judaism or the state of Israel or Jewish practice or anything like that. They just say they're Jewish because they were born Jewish or because it means that they can say in intersectional circles that they're not one of those terrible white people or whatever. But Jews traditionally have voted very, very Democratic. Donald Trump, the most pro-Israel president in American history, last time around he won about 30% of the Jewish vote. Well, in this new Siena College poll, Jewish New York voters favor Donald Trump over Kamala Harris 54-46. She's bleeding Jewish votes because she's spending all of her time trying to pander to terror supporters in Michigan. That, by the way, isn't even helping her. Apparently, yesterday, a national pro-Palestinian group announced it will not endorse Vice President Harris. So despite the fact that they have basically captured her incoming administration, it doesn't matter. They're still not going to endorse her because the minute they do, they're afraid that she is going to draw some sort of middle line between the terrorists and the Israelis. That is the problem for Kamala Harris. By the way, that problem is also going to exacerbate before the election because Israel is upping its action, as it should, in Lebanon. Israel has made it an explicit war goal supported by literally everyone in the Israeli government, right to left, to return the residents of Israel to the north. The entire north of Israel has been depopulated by Hezbollah rocket fire. Earlier today, Israel dropped a bomb in Beirut and likely killed the number 2 in Hezbollah. The possibility of a very serious escalatory military action in Lebanon, meaning Israel actually goes and takes out Hezbollah in southern Lebanon, that's a very real possibility, and it's likely going to happen inside the next few weeks. So that is a full-scale problem for her because it gets her caught between her pro-Hamas, pro-Hezbollah supporters and Jews who actually think that, people have a right to defend themselves against terror groups. There are a lot of embedded problems for Kamala Harris, and those embedded problems for Kamala Harris don't stop there. We mentioned the upcoming looming port strike, which is not going to be good for her. One of the other problems is that the American people still do not perceive her as having a good economic plan, and that is because the Democratic economic plan in general is not good. Take, for example, Janet Yellen. Janet Yellen, the Secretary of the Treasury, yesterday, she laid out what her economic plan is, which presumably mirrors Kamala Harris's. She says it would be very bad to deport illegal immigrants and also bad to cut taxes, which means higher taxes, more illegals. That is what, that's the Secretary of the Treasury. That is a person allied with Kamala Harris. Here she was yesterday saying it would be devastating to the U.S. economy to deport illegal immigrants.
Between 2010 and 2018, immigrants made up, I believe, 60% of all additions to the labor force. They obviously contribute to the dynamism of the U.S. economy. And we need, I believe, an orderly immigration system. And there's obviously work to do for Congress to work with the administration to accomplish that. But I think it would be devastating to simply
remove that
remove this number of immigrants.
Devastating to deport illegal immigrants. By the way, not a popular position with the American people. Also, says Janet Yellen, we can't afford tax cuts. Tax cuts are bad. So remember, you have to pay more taxes so illegal immigrants can come here in and take low-wage jobs. Very, very important, according to Janet Yellen.
If the entire tax cut is just extended and nothing is allowed to expire, I believe the Congressional Budget Office has estimated that over 10 years, that would be almost a $5 trillion blow to the overall budget deficit. And honestly, I really believe that's something the United States can't afford.
Right, so we can't afford tax cuts. We can't afford massive new federal spending. By the way, one of the reasons why they want more illegal immigrants, according to a new study from Just Facts, a nonprofit research institute, 10 to 27% of non-citizens adults in the United States are now illegally registered to vote. The U.S. Census recorded more than 19 million adult non-citizens living in the United States during 2022. Given their voter registration rates, this means about 2 to 5 million of them are illegally registered to vote. How many of them will actually vote? We don't know. That is not good. Well, it's a risky world out there, but why not make that risk a little bit more fun by betting with BetOnline? Beyond traditional sports, BetOnline gives you the option to bet on political events like the outcome of the presidential election. That's a risky bet right now. If you're a diehard sports fan, BetOnline makes sports betting more accessible and convenient than ever before. Now that football season has begun, BetOnline is the best place to be. Last night, producer Jake bet on the Jets, and he won big. I know, somebody actually bet on the Jets and won. It's amazing. With just a few clicks, you can place bets on your favorite teams or events from the comfort of your own home. BetOnline prides themselves on their higher than average betting limits of up to $25,000. You can increase your wagering amounts by contacting their player services desk by phone or email. So while you're watching your favorite team or the news on upcoming elections, why not spice things up with a friendly wager over at BetOnline? Go to betonline.ag to place your bets today. Use promo code BEN for a 50% sign-up bonus of up to $250. That's betonline.ag. Use promo code BEN. BetOnline, the options are endless. You want to spice up the football this weekend? Been some bad games, but they get a little more fun when you head on over to betonline.ag. Place your bets today. Use promo code BEN. Get 50% sign-up bonus of up to $250. Also, it's been pretty obvious for a while the Democrats would love to mass amnesty these folks and turn them into voters immediately. So, do you see what the plans are? Do the plans sound indicative of something good for you? Or are we still going to do the brat and the vibes and the energy and all the rest of this nonsense? Speaking of illegal immigration, yesterday, retired Border Patrol Sector Chief Heitke, he came out and he testified, Aaron Heitke, he testified before Congress that he was told by the Biden-Harris administration not to release information on illegal immigrants with ties to terrorism. That's how bad the illegal immigration problem is in this country.
In San Diego, we had an exponential increase in significant interest aliens. These are aliens with significant ties to terrorism. Prior to this administration, the San Diego sector averaged 10 to 15 SIA arrests per year. Once word was out the border was far easier to cross, San Diego went to over 100 SIAs in 2022, well over that in 2023, and even more than that registered this year. These are only the ones we caught. At the time, I was told I could not release any information on this increase in SIAs or mention any of the arrests. The administration was trying to convince the public there was no threat at the border.
Yes, this administration has been a failure on every possible front. But there is good news. If Kamala Harris were to become president of the United States, you know who we would get to see more of, much more of? Hillary Clinton. I know, you're thinking to yourself, wow, what else do I get in this amazing package deal? If this thing comes with leprosy, I'm in. But Hillary says that she would love to serve in a Harris administration. Oh, goody gumdrops.
If there is a Harris-Walz administration, that you would want to play a part in it, whether officially or unofficially?
Well, certainly unofficially, I want to be as helpful as I can and would do anything I was asked to be helpful. We have so much to do that it really should be all hands on deck, and anybody who can help in any capacity should be willing to do so.
Get ready for some Hillary Clinton. You ready? You want some more of that? Ladies and gentlemen, you up for this? This is the ticket that you want? Seriously? By the way, speaking of non-normies, I do love that in American politics, we've now reached the point where Hillary Clinton is considered a relative normie. She is not. Here's Hillary Clinton opening up about her marriage to Bill and what they do in the mornings.
Every marriage I'm aware of has ups and downs, not public, hopefully for everyone else. And you have to make the decisions that are right for you. And I would never tell anybody else, stay in a marriage, leave a marriage, whatever the easy answer is. And, for me and for us, I think it's fair to say we are so grateful that at this stage of our life, we have our grandchildren, we have our time together. I write about how we start the morning playing spelling bee in bed, and, Bill is like such a great player. He gets to queen bee almost immediately, it feels like. We just have a good time. We have a good time sharing this life that we've lived together for now nearly 50 years of marriage.
These are the normies. These are the people we've been nominating in this country for far, 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 far too long. That's a lady who tried to cover up her husband's allegations. That's it. That's who that is. That Hillary Clinton. By the way, if you believe that they share a bed, unless Bill Clinton's prostate gave out, that is not true in any way, shape, or form. Again, when I say return to normies, I'm not talking about like Joe Schmo on the street or something. Like you want people who actually know how to do policy and who actually study policy. What I mean is normal people who know how to do a thing. Just as I think that you should hire normie accountants, normal people who are not in their off hours going to parties underneath the towers of New York City to, do your accounting. And normal people who aren't spending their off hours going to weird sites and posting about how they love to do your plumbing. I don't know. Is it just me? I don't know. I feel like we've gone a little bit off the rails here. Well, folks, Kamala Harris may not understand appealing to male voters, but there are, in fact, men who still believe in the American dream. In a world gone mad, the Precision 5 from Jeremy's Razor stands as your beacon of sanity. 5 blades of superior engineering offer a shave as unshakable as your faith that the nation's best days still lie ahead. Experience an exceptionally smooth, remarkably close shave, and a testament to the fact that merit still matters. Stop giving your cash to woke companies that actually hate you. Get Jeremy's Razors Precision 5. Available right now at jeremy'srazors.com, walmart.com, and Amazon Prime. I mean, look, it comes in this really nice box. Go right now to jeremy'srazors.com, walmart.com, and Amazon Prime. Go check it out right now. The number 1 new comedy in America is Am I Racist? The only way to see it is in theaters. We've already claimed the number 4 spot at the box office. The audience has spoken with a massive 98% score on Rotten Tomatoes. Am I Racist is officially verified hot. The reviews are rolling in from everyone everywhere. Joe Rogan says it's laugh out loud hilarious. American Thinker calls it a brilliant, hysterical expose of the race hustling industry. The Wall Street Journal only needed one word to describe the movie: hilarious. Don't miss your chance to see the number 1 new comedy in America. Head on over to amiracist.com for tickets and showtimes near you right now. Also, this Sunday, we're releasing a brand new episode of The Sunday Special with Vivek Ramaswamy. He's an American business leader, New York Times bestselling author, former Republican presidential candidate. In the episode, we talk about how conservatives should be messaging to win this election season and the need to redefine America first. Here's a bit of the trailer.
I think the idea that we, the people, actually can be trusted to govern ourselves for better or for worse, which acknowledges that we're going to be trade-offs. Sometimes we'll get it wrong. The idea that you get to speak your mind openly and express any opinion, no matter what that opinion is, no matter how heinous it is to me. The fact that you get to express that opinion as long as I get to in return. The fact that you get to practice your religion, whatever that religion is, as long as you're not hurting somebody else in the process. That is who we are. That's what made America great the first time.
Don't miss this amazing episode of The Sunday Special with Vivek Ramaswamy. Are you joining us on the line is Vivek Ramaswamy. So we're having Vivek on because, number 1, he actually does have a film in theaters right now. There's a film called City of Dreams. Also, he is our guest on The Sunday Special this Sunday. Sat down with him a little bit earlier this week. Here's what it sounded like. First of all, congratulations on executive producing the movie. Talk to me about City of Dreams. What made you want to get involved with this film?
Yeah, look, well, one of the things I've realized, Ben, is that after a year of running for president, the change we're going to drive in this country is not just going to be through politics. And for me, it's been refreshing this year to take on a number of projects in the private sector where I hope we're driving positive change to address a lot of the issues that I spoke about in the campaign, but in ways that are far outside of partisan politics. And in some cases, hopefully in many cases, even bringing along people who aren't just in the Republican or conservative echo chamber. And that was one of my goals with this movie. Is one of the issues I talked about, many of us have talked about over the last year, is the border crisis. But one of the underbellies of that border crisis is forced child labor right here in the United States. And I'm not being histrionic. This is not a hyperbole. We claim that slavery ended in the United States in 1860, but there's a different form of forced labor that's unconscionable directly as a consequence of children and even adults, but particularly children, being trafficked in what is a profitable business for cartels across the southern border. So this is a pretty cool movie. It tells the story of one young man. His name is Jesus. It's inspired by his true story of being lured into the United States on false pretenses, ends up in a sweatshop in LA, forced to work under conditions that are unconscionable. And, no matter how libertarian you are about adults choosing to work in certain conditions, forcing a kid, a minor, to work in those conditions is something we all disagree is wrong. But this is a story of one boy who fights back. And so we hear a lot of statistics often. There's 12 million people living in slavery or conditions of forced labor. Statistics I don't think reach people, and they become quickly politicized. But this is a story of just one young man who actually fought back against that system. I don't want to give too much away, but it is a thriller. It's not some sort of hit you over the head documentary that's preaching at you. As important as some of those fact-exposing films might be, I don't think they end up reaching a lot of people. Most people, by their nature, want to be entertained. So it was important to me that it's an entertaining movie and one that's actually a thriller that keeps people engaged. But through that, I think it exposes an issue that for too long, I think we have swept under the rug. And the director's story in particular, he's an Indian immigrant to the United States, but his story is equally interesting to me. Is he's somebody who was born to a father who himself grew up in conditions of forced child labor. So it's very personal to him. I think that authenticity comes through in this movie about this boy from Mexico who is trafficked into the United States. And one of my goals with this movie is I hope we're able to reach people who otherwise would dismiss in the context of a debate like the one that we had last night, or in the context of forums where you and I would usually appear, being on the defensive, pushing back against what Kamala Harris and Joe Biden actually have done at the border, and then we're at an impasse with at least 40 or 30% of the country. I hope for even that 30 or 40% of the country, they're able to watch this movie. I think most people find it difficult to get through this movie without being in tears by the end of it, in a way that allows us to have a consensus that I think is natural in the country, but in a hyper-partisan environment, we're not able to reach in adopting basic policies that would put an end to this type of child trafficking. And so I hope that the movie has an impact. I think it already has, and I think it's going to take off at a scale that is a steady build. And by this time next year, I think this is going to be one of the great award-winning movies looking back on 2024.
Well, Vivek, congrats on the movie. It's awesome. What's the best place for people to see it? It's in theaters right now, correct?
Yeah, it's in theaters. Yeah, it's probably in most theaters across the country that at least in most cities that are near you. And I think it's going to grow in the number of people that are able to reach it. cityofdreamsmovie.com. That's where you can check it out. And, look, it was my honor to work with, there's not a conservative cadre behind this. We, I think, have a wide range of folks from Tony Robbins to Sylvester Stallone to others who have gotten behind this movie in a big way. And I hope people are able to at least open their eyes to the problem. I have to say, even if I may admit this myself, yes, I talked a lot about the importance of fixing the trafficking issue at the southern border when I started my campaign last year. But I have to admit, even I did not have a full grasp of the scale of this problem in the United States. It's one of those things when you hear it first, you might wonder, is this actually real? Is this some sort of hyperbole? This can't be possibly happening in the United States. But it turns out once you open your eyes, it's actually ubiquitous at a scale that we are reluctant to admit. And this shouldn't be an issue of left versus right. Sadly, it has become politicized. I think in some ways, even this movie, the fact that it touches this uncomfortable truth, I think has made it hard for a lot of people on the left to even publicly get behind this film, even though they would privately acknowledge that this is a major issue that they care about. So I hope we're able to cut through that, and both through this and other things that I've tried to do in the private sector. I've got a book coming out later this month. Ben, you and I have talked about some of my past books, and maybe we can talk about the next one when it comes out. I'm trying to drive change as much through our culture as through American politics. And when we have a country to save, I think it's going to take all of those fronts to hopefully revive who we are.
Well, Vivek Ramaswamy, go check out his brand new movies, executive producer, cityofdreamsmovie.com, or go to your local theater and check it out. Vivek, congrats on the movie. Again, good to talk to you.
Thank you.
All right, coming up, it's time for some Tales of the Woke. I've got some really good ones for you today. If you're not a member, become a member. Use code Shapiro. Check out for 2 months free on all annual plans. Click that link in the description and join us.
Republicans are Nazis. You cannot separate yourselves from the bad white people.
Growing up, I never thought much about race. It never really seemed to matter that much, at least not to me.
Am I racist?
I would really appreciate it if you left.
I'm trying to learn. I'm on this journey.
If I'm going to sort this out, I need to go deeper undercover.
They gon' say I'm racist. Joining us now is Matt, certified DEI expert.
Here's my certification. What you're doing is you're stretching out of your whiteness. This is more for you in this field. Is America inherently racist?
The word inherent is challenging there.
I want to rename the George Washington Monument to the George Floyd Monument.
America is racist to its bones.
So inherently.
Yeah, this country is a piece of
white
folks,
white
trash, white supremacy, white woman, white boy.
Is there a black person around? There's a black person right here. Does he not exist?
They gon' say I'm racist.
Hi, Robin.
Hi, what's your name?
I'm Matt.
I just had to ask who you are because you have to be careful.
Never be too careful.
They gon' say you racist.
In theaters now, rated PG-13.